Meacher here for Survival Dispatch Insider. So today we're going to take a look at some personal radio kits. I've got one of mine here and I've got another one over here we're going to show you in a minute. So this is a little pouch that I repurposed that I keep most of my stuff in for day-to-day. I'm using it every day use. So first of all, we have this particular one is an Anytone 868. They have a new one out now, the 878. Has a little more capabilities, but this works for me. Under $200 now, I think, versus your BaoFeng, which this one is one of the newer ones, the F8HP. You know, you can get these for less than $60. Obviously paying a lot more, has a lot more capabilities. The big difference being that this will also do digital, the DMR stuff, and has several thousand memory capability, whereas your BaoFeng has 128. So again, differences. Always suggest you buy one of these to start with. Figure out what you like, learn to program it. It's sometimes more complex to program than a brand name radio like a Yaesu or ICOM on analog because they're a little smarter with regards to like repeater offsets, etc. Whereas the BaoFeng, you have to know what it is and program it in manually, so it's an extra step. So in this little kit that I carry, radio obviously, stock antenna, and I can honestly say that's the first time I've put this stock antenna on this radio since I had it, and I've had this for over a year. I never use it. My go-to antenna is this coiled up one here, so you can see it bends and fits nicely into this pouch, made by Signal Stuff. And they're the people that the profits from the antennas that they sell support keeping ham study, the study program free on the internet and your app. So much better antenna. I like this better than the Nagoya and other antennas are similar because it's much lighter. And especially on the BaoFengs, because what you tend to see happen, let me just show you here, is the other antennas being a little heavier. Imagine sticking something that's pretty rigid on the end of this connector here, and with just moving it around, it puts a lot of strain on the connector. So I like these antennas much better, definitely lighter. You do have to be careful you don't smack yourself in the face with them or poke somebody's eye out. This radio, I can add stuff to it. Any of these radios, I've got software, makes it much easier to do than trying to do it manually. But you should always know how to do it manually, and if needs be, keep a little cheat card with you that tells you how to do that. It's important because you need to program something on the fly. I don't keep a cheat card in here because this one I have pretty much to memory. Same with the BaoFengs. You know, I've been playing with them long enough that I don't need a cheat card. But when you're starting out, carry a cheat card. Can't recommend it enough. You might also want to carry a cheat card with frequencies, where stuff is, or develop a system where you know things are, especially when you get into these more complex radios. The software I recommend is made by, I just forgot the name, but I'll remember it. Oh, RT Systems. The software is just $25 for each radio, and if you've got the cable, it fits a whole bunch. For example, the cable that works on these works on a whole bunch of radios. It's well worth $25 and save yourself a headache. Spare battery. Unfortunately, this particular type of radio and a lot of the newer ones that are coming with these lithium-ion batteries, they don't make a clamshell for them that you can put rechargeables or AA's in. And so that's a huge disadvantage. The only one I know of out there now that still you can do that with is the Yaesu FT60, which they stopped making, but it's still available and there's tons of parts for it. So that's the one. If it's an option, I'd buy one of those because there's lots of parts and I've got the clamshell batteries. You can do that with the BaoFengs. They make the clamshell battery for it, and the ones that I have at least 3 or 4 clamshell battery packs for these radios because I know if I can't charge this, it's no good. The charger that these come with is a desktop, but I actually have a cable that will plug it into a USB, so I don't need 110 volts to drop down to the 9 volts or whatever it is that it charges on. I've got a USB connector for that, which I use. The other thing I carry in here and I know we talked about this before, is the wire J-poles. So I don't remember where I got this one from, but you can find them out there. And so this particular one, that's your antenna piece here. It's actually what they call ladder line. It's the old style cabling they used to use for TV stuff. And then this one's got, I think, almost 10 feet, maybe not that long, of light coax cable. And on the end is the adapter, the right one, to fit this particular radio. Same with the BaoFengs. It's a SMA-F, so meaning SMA female. There's also an SAM-M, male, so make sure you get the right one, otherwise you have problems trying to fit the two. The other thing I carry in here is an adapter, and this goes from your regular type coax cable. So if I have a mag mount, or at my house a J-pole, or something sitting outside, comes in on regular heavier coax cable, this connects to that, this connects to the radio. That way I'm not putting an adapter on the end of here and sitting it on the top of my radio, because if I do that, I'm putting a lot of strain on the radio. Usually if I've connected this radio to an outside antenna, I'm usually using a speaker mic or something, so I'm not actually having to pick the radio up all the time. This particular cable comes as an SAM-M, so I can take that off and it will fit an SAM-M, and I have a little barrel connector, which is easy to lose, that just allows me to connect it to my radio. So I usually keep that done fairly tight so I don't lose it. The other thing, stock with your BaoFeng radios, I think it came with this one, is your earpiece, or this particular type they call a surveillance mic, just because this is small, designed to clip to you, right here where I have the other mic, and then this piece clips on the back of your collar. This goes in your ear. Useful for when you don't want other people to hear what you're saying or what's being said. It's also great if you're helping at public service events. There's a lot of noise, helps you able to hear. With a speaker mic, it's usually here, and even if there's a lot of ambient noise, it's very hard to hear. These mics are very good at cutting out the background noise, so if you're helping with an event, it's great. If you're helping in an emergency operations center or something like that, the last thing they need is another radio blaring away with information. So I always like this type. I also have a throat mic type, which is really good, and I actually found that, and we'll post the link. We've posted it before, but we'll post the link with this video. And it's a throat mic, so it picks up the vibration in your throat here. It's got the earpiece in, push the talk button, and that is great also for very, very noisy environments, because it doesn't pick up anywhere at all any noise that one of these will pick up. A little bulkier to carry, looks a little weird. I actually found it when I was looking under airsoft stuff. So even though it's marketed to airsoft, it's not as expensive as your commercial brand, and I think it was less than 50 bucks. So again, I carry that in another bag, but it's great if you have to go, quote, tactical. You can talk very, very quietly, but it's also heard very, very well over the radio. So that's what I carry in this one. Let's take a look here. I borrowed Nikki's radio here, so I'll put my stuff over there. So keeping your equipment safe. You notice I don't have this one in an EMP bag, and that's because I'm using it nearly all the time. I've got a BaoFeng radio that is in one of my bags in an EMP-proof bag, and Survival Dispatch, through our partnership, has these bags. This is a larger version, and these are EMP-proof. They're worth their weight in gold. Because your stuff is protected, you know what it's in here is going to work. So your valuable electronics, you want to be able to keep in one of these. So Nikki has a few things in here. I'll take the bag, and you have this inner bag. So scanner. So this nice handheld scanner program for your local area gives you an idea of what's going on. So we've talked to signals intelligence before, and being able to understand what's going on. You're going to hear stuff over your local public safety frequencies much sooner than it's going to be on the media or any kind of sign-up alert thing that you can sign up for your area. So the disadvantage is that a lot of public safety agencies, especially law enforcement, are encrypting their stuff, so not going to work. But most fire departments, EMS, that stuff's not encrypted. Most areas now have trunked radio systems, so you're going to want one that is trunk capable. There are different types of systems out there. So again, something you might want to have. Make sure you have the right one for your area. Yaesu, so this is the Vx6 Yaesu. If I remember correctly, it's multi-band. Nice little radio. This one's nice. It's waterproof. Well, let me rephrase that. It says submersible. So if you drop it in a puddle, you're out in the rain, not going to damage it at all. Nice radio. This has the lithium packs on the back. So again, not available as a clamshell. So that's the downside to that. I've got to have the means to recharge a spare battery. And you always want a spare. And then, let's see, what else do we have in here? So this is a HF Shortwave Receiver. Nice little device. This particular one, very nice. I haven't played with it. Might have to play with that. Can listen to stuff that's going on. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but there's a couple of programs for government emergency communications, and one of them is called SHARES, and it means Shared HF Resources. So a lot of government entities or government affiliated agencies, critical infrastructure, have access to those HF frequencies, and that's their go-to when normal communications are down. So if you know where they are, those frequencies, you can find them on the web. Good to know what they are and good to listen to what's going on. They always stand up when there's any kind of event going on around the world, around the country, inaugurations, large events, parades, big parades, things like that. They'll stand that up. They'll stand it up for like July the 4th, just as a contingency. And there's a lot of organizations that get involved with that. Let's see. And GPS device. So Garmin device, and I'll show you mine later on another video we're going to do. But again, something you want to protect. So put that in a bag. These bags come in two sizes. This bigger size, so you can put kind of everything in, and then make a smaller one. Worth their weight in gold. So you come over to Survival Dispatch Insider. We'll post the link. So with that, if you like this video, hit like below. Come over to Survival Dispatch Insider. We'll post the link for the bags and a couple of these other different radios that we have here. And if you join Insider, you get access to all the issues that we have on communications. We've done some on the HF receivers before and other devices, so you'll get access to that. And with that, have a good day.